The message arrived on a Tuesday, interrupting breakfast shows and morning commutes across every inhabited world in human space. The transmission pierced through quantum encryption like it was tissue paper, bypassing military networks and civilian channels alike to appear simultaneously on every screen, every device, every surface capable of displaying light. The being that spoke was magnificent in its alien horror, a towering crystalline entity whose faceted body refracted light into impossible geometries. Its voice resonated with the authority of eons, each word carefully chosen to demonstrate superiority. Inferior carbon-based organisms of the species designated human, it began, the translator algorithm struggling with concepts that had no earthly equivalent. You have spread your primitive presence across 17 star systems like a plague. Your reckless expansion ends now. You will surrender your homeworld of Earth within 72 of your rotational periods, or face complete annihilation. We are the hegemony. We have consumed 1,000 civilizations. Resistance is futile. The transmission ended, leaving 8 billion humans staring at blank screens in stunned silence. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the war room beneath Geneva, surrounded by the greatest military minds humanity had ever produced. The holographic display showed the enemy fleet, 300 massive vessels arranged in perfect geometric formations at the edge of the solar system, each one dwarfing humanity's largest dreadnoughts. "Analysis?" she asked, her voice steady despite the weight of extinction pressing down on her shoulders. "They're using technology we don't understand," reported Dr. Marcus Webb, his hands trembling as he manipulated the data streams. "Energy. Signatures off our scales. Their smallest ships are 2 kilometers long. The flagships—" He paused, swallowing hard. "The flagships are larger than our space stations." General Alexander Petrov, veteran of the Titan Wars, leaned forward. "What about their demands? Why Earth specifically?" "Unknown," Webb replied, "but our xenoarchaeology teams have theories. Earth isn't just our birth world, it's apparently something special. The hegemony has conquered star-spanning empires, but they want our little blue marble intact." Admiral Chen studied the tactical display, her mind racing through possibilities. Humanity had fought wars before, devastating conflicts that had taught them the art of survival against impossible odds. The Covenant War had nearly broken them, but they had endured. The AI uprising had cost them Mars, but they had prevailed. Each time they had emerged stronger, more united, more determined. "They made one mistake," she said finally, her voice cutting through the despair like a blade. "What's that?" Petrov asked. "They gave us 72 hours. The next 3 days transformed human space into a forge of desperate innovation. Every shipyard worked around the clock, retrofitting civilian vessels with military hardware. Every laboratory pushed the boundaries of known physics, weaponizing technologies that had been theoretical hours before. Every human settlement, from the gleaming cities of Europa to the mining colonies of the Kuiper Belt, became a fortress. But most importantly, Earth itself awakened. The planet that had birthed humanity held secrets even its children had never suspected. Ancient defense networks, dormant for millennia, stirred to life as human technicians interfaced with systems older than recorded history. The orbital rings that had once seemed purely industrial revealed their true nature as the largest weapons platform ever constructed. On the final day, as the hegemony fleet began its approach toward Earth, Admiral Chen broadcast a message to every human soul in the system. "They think they know us," she said, standing before a wall of stars. "They've studied our expansion, cataloged our ships, measured our weapons. They see a young species with primitive technology and assume we'll surrender like the 1,000 civilizations before us. They're wrong." The hegemony fleet entered Earth's sphere of influence expecting capitulation. Instead, the sky erupted in fire. The orbital rings revealed themselves first, massive structures that had masqueraded as industrial platforms suddenly blossoming with weapon systems that defied classification. Beams of concentrated stellar energy lanced out, striking the lead hegemony vessels with the fury of captive suns. The aliens' shields, which had never failed in 1,000 conquests, flickered and died. Then came humanity's fleet. Not the 100 ships the hegemony had detected, but thousands. Every liner, every freighter, every mining vessel had been transformed into an instrument of war. They swarmed the alien formation like angry hornets, their modified weapon systems pouring destruction into ships 100 times their size. The hegemony's flagship, a crystalline cathedral of war 3 kilometers long, found itself surrounded by a dozen converted colony ships. Captain Maria Santos, commanding the former grain hauler New Harvest, smiled grimly as her ship's improvised ram-scoop weapon tore through alien armor like paper. "This is for every world you've burned," she whispered, and detonated her ship's fusion core at point-blank range. But Earth's greatest weapon wasn't technology. It was the indomitable human spirit that refused to yield. As hegemony forces pushed deeper into the system, they encountered resistance at every asteroid, every moon, every scrap of matter humans had touched. The colonists of Ceres turned their entire world into a kinetic weapon, accelerating their habitat toward the enemy fleet in a suicide run that claimed 50 alien vessels. The battle raged for 18 hours. When the last hegemony ship finally retreated into hyperspace, the solar system was a graveyard of twisted metal and crystalline fragments. Humanity had lost half its fleet and countless heroes, but they had achieved the impossible. Admiral Chen stood on the observation deck of Earth Station, watching the debris fields glitter in Sol's light. The hegemony would return, she knew. They would bring more ships, better weapons, harder lessons learned from their first defeat. But they had made a fundamental error in understanding humanity. They had demanded Earth's surrender, expecting fear and submission. Instead, they had awakened something that had slumbered in human hearts since their species first looked up at the stars and dreamed of conquest. Earth had not surrendered. Earth had declared war. The sky had opened and humanity had answered with fire.